Welcome to Extraordinary League, an actual play RPG podcast brought to you by Smash Fiction. I'm Claire Mulkerin, your Game Master. Playing Tuvok from Star Trek Voyager is Miles Schneiderman.
It appears we have lost our sex appeal, Captain.
Playing Adam Jensen from Deus Ex is Liz Logan.
I never asked for this.
Yay!
Playing Rosa Diaz from Brooklyn Nine-Nine is Kit Mulkerin.
Why are we still doing stingers? If you don't know what we sound like by now, you're not a fan. You're dead to me.
Playing Vmon from Digimon is Dan Mulkerin.
Danmon, Digivolve to Playermon.
And playing Miss Piggy is Megan Bob.
Extraordinary? Moi? Too right!
Previously, a group of colorful travelers suddenly appeared inside Castle Grayskull wielding a DDC. After a brief battle with these intruders in which some of them displayed some surprisingly powerful magic, a truce was called when it was discovered that neither side had any real ill will towards the other, or even knew what was going on. They then introduced themselves as royalty from a realm known as Candyland, including King Candy, Princess Frostine, Princess Lolly, and a few others. Apparently, the League had placed a spy in Candyland by the name of Adam Jensen, but he got caught by the castle's royal guard and had his DDC taken away. After fiddling with the device for a bit, the Candylanders figured out how to activate it and ended up in Grayskull. After the brief aforementioned fight and truce, since you were eager to see Adam Jensen safely brought back home, and since the Candylanders seemed peaceful by nature, as a sign of goodwill and as an apology for putting a spy in their castle, you let them stay as guests in the castle. The Candylanders have spent the past few days as guests in Grayskull, during which time you have explained to them the nature of the League, the multiverse, and the war with Phyrexia, but now they are preparing to travel back home. To further celebrate and cement this new alliance, the cheerful and boisterous King Candy has invited the League to spend a day as his honored guests at Candy Castle, at the end of which there will be a grand feast, Adam Jensen will be released from custody, and all will be forgiven. Your League cell has been selected as the one to attend a dinner party in Candyland. So you've had a few hours to spend in the castle leading up to dinner. What have you guys been doing? There's a grand hall where they're setting up for the feast. There's a pretty extensive library. There are some cotton candy gardens, which have hedge animals made from cotton candy bushes. There's some people out playing croquet on the lawn. You've heard of some butterscotch hot springs. What have you guys been doing with your time?
Rosa's definitely just sitting around looking grumpy that she's here. It's like, why are we here? Did a gumdrop get brutally murdered?
I'm definitely sitting next to her smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, this is actually your first cigarette that you've had in a long time, because you've spent the past few weeks actually, in a one-room cell staring out through some peppermint bars at a very dark hallway. They've actually just recently taken the cuffs off you, and there's still a few guards that are nearby, sort of giving you the side eye, because they don't fully trust you yet, but you have been given, freedom to roam around the castle.
If you want to make enemies, try to smoke a cigarette in Candyland. As these two are sitting next to each other being grumpy, a small blue shape runs up to them, carrying a long handwritten list, which has been written in crayon. Vmon runs up to Rosa and says, "Rosa!"
Rosa's just staring into space.
I have good news!
I don't believe that.
I just tasted every single item in the palace garden, and I am prepared to give a full report on what everything tastes like. So, the chocolate fountain tastes like chocolate.
How are you both Hitchcock and Scully combined?
The pop rock bushes taste like pop rock, and they go explode in the mouth.
Rosa's gonna look at Adam and say, I never asked for this.
How about Tuvok and Miss Piggy? What have you guys been doing?
Tuvok has diplomatic qualities, right? He knows what's required of him, so he's definitely being very polite and speaking when spoken to. Was really hoping there was something to eat here that wasn't candy, but he's just this is all way, way too sweet. But he's making the best of it, and maybe he'll interrupt Vmon's tirade here. Mm-hmm. Mr. Vmon, as we have discussed on previous occasions, your reporting is both thoroughly unnecessary and extremely painful to listen to.
But if I don't report on this, then who's gonna know what the peanut brittle fence tastes like? The answer may surprise you. It's peanut brittle.
I imagine that we would all have to simply go on with our lives with the knowledge that we will never know.
Exactly.
Oh God, Rose is gonna be like,
Oh.
I would literally kill for a steak right now. But I'm pretty sure their cows are made out of milk duds.
Oh, Miss Piggy has been eating a lot of the castle. There
Yes.
are...
She's the only one who's happy about this.
Yeah. I am in heaven. There are surreptitious little chomps taken out of various parts of it. Her room, like the lamp, is halfway eaten. Some of the fixtures have been nibbled. But, she knows a good thing when she sees it. So she's also sort of following around King Candy. Not particularly interested in him, but certainly angling to see, is there like a Prince Candy? Or do you have any cousins who are tall and strapping and royal, maybe?
King Candy tells you that he has 2 daughters. They are Frostine and Lolly. For those of you who are curious, in the first edition of Candyland, it was Queen Frostine. In later editions, she is a princess. She's apparently been demoted. But anyway.
Is that a thing you can do? Can you do it?
I mean, I hope she didn't start off as King Candy's wife and then move to being his daughter.
No, so my headcanon, if you're there was another Queen Frostine, and this is her daughter.
Oh, I see.
The
Queen
original-
Frostine the second.
Right, the second.
Queen
Okay.
Frostine the second, yeah. So the original Queen Frostine, died tragically or whatever.
They should really put Roman numerals in the budget for Candyland.
Yeah.
It needs to be a thing. They're not that expensive.
Yeah.
Did fucking Candyland just teach me about royal hierarchies? This is not okay.
King Candy actually, after a couple hours of being bothered by you, it's sort of early afternoon, he tells you has some official business he needs to attend to. And then at that point, there's a few other people hanging around the castle. There is Grandma Nut, Lord Licorice, Mr. Mint, and Plumpy.
Is he really a lord, though?
He is, and his hair looks like red licorice, actually. It's like dreadlocks, so it's pretty, I don't know if that's your thing. It's like a little
It
bit
is
of a Jack
now.
Sparrow vibe. The dinner bell rings. So all of you are seated around the table. Frostine, Lolly, Mr. Mint, Grandma Nut, Plumpy, and Lord Licorice are all here, although King Candy's not yet arrived. There's a really big chair at the head of the table, which you're assuming is for him. It is currently, you're having an appetizer of chocolate chowder, which appears to just be basically hot chocolate in a bowl.
Yeah!
You think there's what look like vegetables in it, but they're actually like marshmallows that are shaped sort of like vegetables.
Vemon is on his 3rd bowl.
Thank God I'm part machine.
Rose is glaring down at her bowl as though she was wishing she could will it into turning, like, is this something else? But finally says, if I eat enough of this stuff, maybe I'll get diabetes and die. and then she just starts eating it slowly.
That's the spirit.
I turn to Lord Licorice. I must admit, I'm curious. How do your people survive with this much glucose intake in your diet? By my calculations, you should all have been dead years ago.
He says, oh, of course, the children and commoners will have such simple palates, having things such as, just having sweets all the time, lollipops and ice cream. But as you grow older, you will find that Candyland actually has a wide variety of different types of foods. We also have sour candies, and we have bitter candies, like black licorice is a very complex flavor that the lower classes simply can't appreciate. So if you stay here for long enough, I can show you all sorts of wonderful tastes.
Fascinating. I don't believe you mentioned at any point any foods with a lower glucose.
In prison, they used to force feed me corn syrup.
That's what they do instead of waterboarding?
I was
Oh my
happy I
God.
had a rebreather at that moment.
At this point, across the table from you, Tuvok, Mr. Mint says, I know what you're feeling. I sometimes get a hankering for a different sort of flavor myself. If you want, I can have the kitchen mix you a mint julep. That's what he's currently sipping.
Do you have some sort of vested interest in getting me to consume a product named after yourself?
Well, I will admit that the castle does purchase their supplies from my company, and he slides a business card across the table, and it says Peppermint Bros Logging. And there's a picture of like what looks like a little forest, but the tree trunks are all like candy canes. It says Francis P. Mint, proprietor.
Tuvok raises an eyebrow. Very well. Perhaps I shall partake in one of these mint juleps.
Can I ask you a very personal question?
Why, of course, my dear.
Are you richer than Lord Licorice, or Are you married?
Some of these fancy royalty around here do not always think kindly of me because I'm not from a royal background myself. I'm a businessman.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But I have managed to pull myself up by my own bootstraps, and this very castle that you're in was constructed out of limber from my peppermint forest. It was just recently constructed about 5 years ago, actually, so although I am a recent addition to the higher-ups here in Candyland, I have made a bit of a name for myself.
Miss Piggy pats his arm.
That's nice.
So Vimon is going to wipe this like giant chocolate beard off of his mouth with the back of his hand and looks down the table at Plumpy.
So, what's your deal? Are you like the candy guy or the cookie king or what do you got?
My name's Plumpy.
Oh, cute.
I'm a plum troll. I am the representative from the Sugar Plum Forest. Not because I'm any sort of royalty, but just because I am the last of the plum trolls.
You're the last of the plum trolls?
Yes.
Sorry.
It's alright. It's not so bad. I have a lot of friends here. But I do miss my family.
What happened to your family?
Oh, it was the Sugar Plum Forest, you know. It wasn't anything nefarious. It was climate change.
Yes! Oh! Lead with a message! I love it!
That's awful.
Yes, we can only subside on the fruit of the sugar plum trees, and there aren't very many of those left.
Hold on a second. I just have a quick question. Claire,
Yes?
did you make Candyland a capitalist hellscape?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Cause like
the monarchy?
they're logging the peppermint forest, dude.
Oh, man.
Claire's just working with the existing canon of Candyland.
Look, I think it's, if you play the game, it's all there.
Read between the lines.
Read between the spaces.
Yeah, that's right.
Rosa, like, has a slight smirk as she, at the end of this conversation, he's like, good job, you reminded him about how crappy his life was.
Vimon is looking very dejected and looks up at you and says,
Well, that's why you're my partner. You have to help me out with this sort of thing.
What did you want me to say?
Well, I don't know. What would you have said in that situation?
Wow, yeah, that sucks.
Vimon nods as though that's incredibly sage advice.
Rosa looks at, Flumby, is that his name? How about instead of feeling sorry for yourself, you get revenge?
He says, against the climate?
You know damn well it wasn't the climate. This crap doesn't happen in a vacuum. Wake up, Plumpy. Wake up.
Somebody said they were going to want to talk to Grandma Nut. Is that correct?
I was willing to if no one else wanted to, just because I'm real curious about that voice.
I will say, she has actually left dinner a few minutes ago. But by this point, the door bursts open, and you see she actually runs back in. She like, left for a minute, but she's now re-entered. Oh no! Everyone come quickly! It's the most terrible thing ever!
It's probably a trap.
I'm immediately on my feet and looking for the threat.
Either I've gone completely nuts, or King Candy has been murdered!
Oh shit.
My meal ticket.
Vimon is immediately standing on his chair, puffing out his chest, looking for somewhere to dive headfirst.
Rosa's finally smiling.
Don't fall for it. This is how they got me.
I say, where is he?
She says, oh, in his bedroom. He was taking so long to come to dinner. I went to knock on the door, and it was unlocked, so I opened it. I just, come, and I'll show you. So, all of you, plus Princess Frosty, Princess Lolly, Mr. Mint, Lord Licorice, and Plumpy, all get up from the table and proceed to King Candy's bedroom. You open up the door, and you do indeed find him sprawled out on the ground, lying face down, apparently dead. He is at the foot of his, large 4-poster bed. There's a little desk off to the side with a chair. There's also a large window that's basically like takes up an entire wall, and there's a pretty sizable hole in it where the glass is broken and the cold evening air is blowing in.
Rosa's gonna sigh and say, I was hoping for a bloodbath. Or maybe a chocolate bath. I don't know, this place is weird.
I inspect the body.
Okay.
I determine a cause of death.
Sure. That sounds like an intuition roll.
Alright, let's see here.
Can Rosa also use her investigation?
Sure, are you going to be looking at the body as well?
Yeah, I'll look at it at the same time he does, so that way I can make sure he's not ruining evidence.
Well, shit, I might as well do it too.
Yeah, let's all, like, hover over this dead body.
All the cops. I got a yellow.
Yeah, that's a yellow.
Rosa rolled a fucking white. It was like, what
Right.
is this garbage? This garbage body.
You don't understand his strange candy anatomy.
I was gonna ask, is he bleeding blood or is he bleeding sugar syrup?
It looks like blood. It probably has very high, like, sugar content.
It's just like very slow flowing blood. It's like molasses.
Molasses.
Delicious and nutritious.
Adam, you notice that the cause of death seems to be that he has a broken neck, but it looks like before that he had another injury, which was a, like, puncture wound in his stomach that appears to be from something that was sharp, but also really wide, like a couple inches in diameter. Some sort of really thick, like, spear or polearm, maybe. Tuvok, you notice one additional detail, which is that he has something underneath his fingernails.
Oh, I check it out.
It appears to be little bits of gel substance. That's kind of like a thick gel. There's bits of it that are orange and yellow and white.
Okay.
Candy corn.
Do you want to taste it?
No, not me. Liz might.
I will. I'm cyborg.
Oh my god.
It is indeed candy corn.
The king appears to have put up some sort of fight or struggle. Can we just figure out which of the wounds happened, like the broken neck or the stabbing happened first, or is that not a thing we can determine?
It looks like the stabbing happened first.
Looks like the stabbing happened first, alright. I relay as much.
Frostian's gonna say, who could have done this? And then Lord Licorice says, it was clearly the intruders! The ones from another world, even they even have that spy among them.
Well, you are definitely not on my list anymore.
I raised my eyebrow at him and was like, all 5 of us have been present at dinner for the entire time, and were there when Grandma Nut relayed us the message of the king's death. Your conclusion is illogical.
Since you guys got a yellow, I think I'm also gonna let you know the time of death,
Okay.
which was that it happened sort of mid-afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's been a few hours.
Rose is gonna be like, your conclusion is stupid. And then she's gonna go investigate the whole window zone.
I'll say intuition for this one.
Okay. Yellow.
You're looking around and you suddenly realize there's no broken glass on the floor. You take a peek outside and you actually see that there's a bunch outside on the grass outside of the window.
How big is the hole in the window?
It's pretty big.
Okay.
It seems like if it was made by a person, it would be larger than a normal human.
At this point, as Rose is looking out the window, Vimon comes running up behind her, holding up a blanket made out of taffy above his head, and he says,
Rosa, is this a clue?
If you touch the evidence one more time, I'm going to turn you into evidence.
Oh. Well, all right. Well, what should I do then? Should I start questioning people? Do you want me to take a look around? Maybe try to get to the bottom of this?
Yeah, it's actually not a bad idea.
All right.
How about you find out where everyone was around noon?
Got it. I am on the case. Hey, do you have like a... I feel like I need to wear a cool hat or something, you know? Really send the message that my authority is not to be questioned.
Is the dead body wearing a cool hat?
he's wearing a crown.
He has a crown.
Yeah, Rosa
nearby.
looks at the dead body, he's like, take his, he ain't using it.
Vimon immediately begins marching for the hat.
Actually, wait, no, they'll think you're the killer, never mind.
Oh. All right, well, I'll make do without a hat then.
Steal someone else's hat.
All right.
Can I walk up to Rosa at the window area? I'm gonna go, Rosa, have you ever heard of the Kool-Aid Man?
You mean from the commercials?
Yeah, he was the worst torturer here. He kept surprising me when I was trying to sleep. And he kept me up at night going,
Alright, that's it,
Oh,
at least
yeah.
canceled. It's canceled, nothing's funnier than that.
Oh god,
was
Kool-Aid Man
terrible.
torture.
That sounds awful, man, I'm sorry.
I'll go ahead and go with Vimon. He's talking to people, so I'm gonna start
Okay.
talking to people as well, and far be it from me to question your expertise in the field of investigation, but perhaps I should assist you.
Oh yeah, we can do good cop, bad cop.
And which one would I be?
Well, you're the good cop, of course. I get to be the hard-boiled mean one.
Naturally.
If they give you any guff, just say that I'm crazy and that I'll hit him with my head or something.
We are fortunate that this particular response does not require any acting experience on my part. Alright, I'm starting my inquiries with Lord Licorice, that cocksucker.
Lord Licorice, all right. So Rosa and Adam are going to keep looking around in the room.
I want to jump out the window onto the ground to see where the glass is.
Yeah, I actually was gonna do that as well, because I have really great acrobatics.
Oh, dope.
All right, cool. So we'll start with that interrogation. But first, before anybody leaves, Frostine's going to say, before anyone goes anywhere, how do we know that we can trust you all? How do we know that you're not the murderers?
Well, I don't think any of us are made of candy corn.
Neither are any of us.
Well, then you have nothing to worry about, don't you?
And then Lord Licorice says, if that scoundrel is going to be walking around the castle, he says, pointing at Adam, then I demand that all of you hand over your little world-traveling device. We don't want you to be escaping. We're going to be holding on to that until we can figure out what's going on here.
We have no intention of escaping. However, I see no need to not hand you the device while we conclude our investigation.
What about him? What if he's the murderer and he tries to escape?
It's a very good point.
How dare you! I am many things, but I am, well, to be fair, I have done some things. I mean, and then Lolly says, just last week he tried to kill us all by mailing us exploding licorice sticks and saying it was for our birthday. And he says, the candy throne will be mine! I mean...
Yeah, you're not going to get the DDC.
Is there maybe a safe deposit box we could use?
Is there anyone that you guys trust in the group? Any of the Candylanders that you want to give the DDC to?
I feel like Plumpy might have it out for the system, maybe. Maybe we could trust him.
My DDC got taken away, and then I got tortured.
I trust the nutty lady.
I don't trust Grandma for a second.
Might I remind you that she was the one who informed us that a crime had taken place. Logic dictates she is one of the most likely suspects.
Well, who would you give it to then, Tuvok?
I am uncertain. There appears to be no one who can be ruled out.
Princess Lolly, you seem harmless.
Yeah, so just so you know, Frostine is like in her 20s, and Lolly looks like she's about 8.
Who would have the most to gain from him being dead? Who's next
Well, that's
in
what
line?
I'm thinking about. Like, the princess is totally a suspect. We can't trust her.
But yeah, Frostine is next in the line of succession,
She's
followed
8.
by Lolly.
No, the younger princess is 8. I feel like we might be able to trust her. I feel like it's her or Plumpy.
Yeah.
Let's give it to Lolly then.
All right.
Okay, who's in charge of the DDC, usually, in the team? I'll let that person make a reason check.
I feel like Tuvok should be in charge.
Tuvok, okay, make a reason check, Tuvok. 96, okay.
Yeah, that's
I love two
Cool.
people voted, 2 people that weren't Miles voted Tuvok, and Liz was me!
I'm gonna say, Tuvok, before you hand it over, you can actually remove a power cell from it.
Oh, okay.
So that it won't be operational, and they can have it, but you won't be able to use it, but they won't be able to use it.
Tremendous. I still give it to the kid.
All right, sounds good. You give it to Lolly?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Questioning Lord Licorice. Start us off, Tuvok.
Lord Licorice, you have cast many aspersions upon us as to our whereabouts when the murder took place. May I ask you where you were earlier today?
Where I was no concern of yours, Commoner.
I think you'll find that it's very much a concern of ours. So maybe you should start squawking, see? Like a stool pigeon.
And Vimon turns and looks up at Tuvok and, like, nods very enthusiastically.
All right, somebody make some sort of roll to, like, either intimidate or persuade him.
Hell yeah.
I think Dan has to do it.
Oh, not bad. I got a green.
He says, I just arrived in the past few hours. I spent the day at my own castle overseeing production of a new statue of myself. And I would say it seems like he's telling the truth. You don't remember seeing him at the castle earlier.
When was the last time you encountered King Candy?
The last time I saw him face to face, they were walking away from the wreckage of a licorice tank that I built that I was attempting to use to storm the castle. I was shaking my fist at him and saying, "Curse you, King Candy!"
I see.
Oh, I'm in love.
And does King Candy have any known enemies, besides, obviously, yourself?
He has no enemy greater than myself. I am his feared and most terrible nemesis.
At this point, Vimon is gonna grab Tuvok's wrist and like put Tuvok's hand on the back of his own neck, and then Vimon is going to pretend that he's trying to get to Lord Licorice, but Tuvok is holding him back and is like swinging his fist forward.
I knew it! You were the one who had plotted this whole assassination, weren't you?
If I had, it would be my most brilliant crime ever, because none of my other ones have worked.
I guess this one did have a certain lack of tanks and exploding licorice sticks.
I'm trying to think of what to ask him next because, like, he's clearly a suspect, but on the other hand, like, I don't think he could ever actually pull it off, so I'm, like, I don't think he just has what it takes.
Sorry, we're ruling him out for now.
I say, thank you for your time, and please be sure to keep yourself available for further questioning.
Hey, one more question, Lord Licorice. If you did kill King Candy, what would you be doing right now?
I suppose I'd be getting interrogated by you?
Guilty.
I see. And, would you happen to be a virus type, Lord Licorice? No further questions. And with that, Vimon turns around and walks off.
Alright.
I must admit, it is rare that I have encountered anyone in the course of a criminal investigation that looks so thoroughly guilty as you do. This alone leads me to think that you're probably innocent.
What? Thank you!
It was not a compliment.
Alright, so, who wants to go next? Rosa and Adam and Piggy were all in that room. What's Rosa doing?
Okay, so Rosa wants to check for two things. The first thing she wants to check for is signs of forced entry, or a lack thereof. And she also wants to just do a scan of the room to see if she can map out if there was like a struggle, what the struggle looked like, any other clues from that.
Yeah, as you look around the room, it looks like there was a struggle. One of his bedposts, which is made of something that looks like metal but is probably some form of candy, it's been like squeezed. There's what looks like a hand imprint in it from like a really big hand, like larger than a human's. It looks like it was crushing it. And also, the bed is a little bit askew, and the carpet's like kind of scuffed up, and one of the corners is turned over. It looks like there was quite a bit of a struggle in here.
Signs of forced entry?
You don't see any, but it looks like pretty much wherever this person stepped, there was some sort of mayhem that was caused, like stuff knocked over, you know, or like that kind of thing. But no sign of forced entry.
Rosa says to her other two here, no sign of forced entry, so he knew the killer. Or at least felt comfortable enough letting him in.
It was a party guest. The Kool-Aid man.
Would he let the party guest into his room?
He probably was thirsty and wanted a drink.
For the record, there is no Kool-Aid man.
Are there candy whores? But like giant ones, because this handprint is huge. And she points to the post.
You know, Rosa has a point. Is this some sort of affaire du coeur gone wrong?
I'm jumping out the window now.
All right.
And then he jumps out the window. I hope that he doesn't even open it first.
I'm gonna say this is like sort of second story, so you drop down a little bit, but it's a jump that a cyborg like yourself has no trouble surviving. When you land, I'm gonna say that you notice something in the grass and the dirt here, which is that it looks like there's some footprints. They look like they're pretty big.
What do they look like?
It's tough to tell because the dirt here is such that they're just sort of like vague foot shapes. They do look a little bit weird though. They look like they're kind of deep. They don't look like normal human feet. They kind of have a weird shape. They're really round.
Maybe not the Kool-Aid man. Maybe the M&M brothers.
I feel like you were really hallucinating when you were down in that prison, dude.
I was tortured.
Yeah.
I don't think you were tortured. I don't think they torture people in Candyland.
They fed me so much
actually-
candy.
The subplot is a thing you've entirely made up.
Piggy jumped after Adam and is down there with him.
Let's follow the footprints. Rosa, get down here.
How far down is it?
It's like a story down. This is like a second story window.
Okay, I'll jump back up and ask her.
Will you take my hand?
She like stares at him for like a good 3 seconds and is like, yeah, your goatee's good enough, I guess.
I know, and as I'm looking at her, my sunglasses go in front of my eyes.
Yeah, it's definitely better if I see less of your face.
We jump down.
So you guys are heading off, following the footsteps. Tuvok and Vimon, you can interrogate one more prisoner if you wish.
Dan, what do you think? I'm thinking either Frostine or Grandma Nud has to be interrogated here?
If it's between those two, I would say let's do Frostine.
I agree. Okay, cool.
Okay. As we're walking over to her, Vimon says,
Hey, do you want to switch places? You want to try being the bad cop, or you want to keep things as they are?
I believe your methods thus far have been highly effective. I see no reason to alter our strategy.
Vimon narrows his eyes, nods, and tries to crack his knuckles, but just, pushes on his fingers ineffectually. And then makes a very obvious cracking sound effect with his mouth.
When you go to meet Frostine, she's in her bedroom. She seems to be sort of looking around and cleaning and kind of organizing things, and kind of only half paying attention to you guys.
Can I get an intuition check, maybe with the insight talent adding to it, and see, is she coming off as rattled at all, or what does it seem like her emotional state is right now?
Sure, go for it.
That's another red, you watched me do it.
Alright. She seems fairly calm, kind of not as disturbed as you would think, but she's kind of had that quality about her before, so it doesn't necessarily to you mean that there's something up. It just sort of seems like it's something you may have respect for. She seems fairly logical, and she can keep her emotions in check.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
Princess Frostine, are we disturbing you?
if I say yes, will you leave me alone?
Not a chance, sweetheart. We're here to get after the truth.
She has a dress that's white and blue. Her hair is also this white and blue, and she has with her a blue staff that has a big snowflake at the top of it that's shimmering slightly. The Candy royal family, King Candy, Frostine, and Lolly, are all magic users, and they carry around with them magic staves at all times. So.
All right. You have my sympathies for your loss, and I apologize that we must ask these questions, but it is vital that we get to the root of this investigation and discover who killed your father.
I understand. I mean, it would make sense for it to be me. I am the next in line. Although, if I was a patient person, which I am, I have no reason to rush this. I was going to get the throne eventually. There could be an argument made for my motivation, but to risk it at a time like this seems very foolish.
So, what you're saying is, you didn't kill King Candy because you're patient. Not, you didn't kill King Candy because he's your father and you love him.
One of those things is true. He is my father, but he can be a bit insufferable at times, so...
I have no desire to discuss your potential motive at this time. As you yourself have pointed out, you clearly have one, regardless of what you say now. I would like to know your whereabouts this afternoon.
I'm not sure if this line of questioning is a good way for you to get at what you want. The timetable is somewhat open, and throughout the afternoon, all of us have some time that we are unaccounted for.
Very well. Describe your day to me.
After we came back to Candyland from your castle Grayskull, which, by the way, I don't know how you guys say that you're not the bad guys when you're clearly in a castle that's a giant skull, but...
Stick to the subject, broad.
Oh my god.
Mr. Vimon, please, try not to overdo it.
Alright.
She says, but I spent most of the day trying to find some of my possessions, which apparently have gone missing. I'm guessing it's my sister. She's always rooting around in my room. I can't find one of my textbooks, one of the ones on proper wand technique. I noticed it was missing today, but it's probably been missing for quite a while. I haven't been looking for it in a long time.
You mentioned multiple items. What else has gone missing?
She says it was actually several of my books, textbooks on magical technique.
And is your younger sister of a reading age?
She is. You remember she actually made you guys a very nice greeting card when you arrived. She has quite good penmanship.
Ah, yes. The calligraphy was impeccable.
The ink was delicious. That's an interesting stuff you have there. Do you mind if I take a look at it?
Yes. It's a priceless family heirloom.
I mean, I'm not gonna... No, you know what? Never mind. That's probably a good idea.
It was my mother's, actually.
I see.
Vimon's going to make a big show of looking at it, but he's specifically going to look at the end that isn't topped with the giant snowflake. Anything out of line about it?
Intuition?
All right, with my poor intuition, I got it right.
Great. It looks totally normal.
right.
Nothing unusual.
All right. I say,
What sorts of magic stuff can you do?
She points her wand at the ground and it starts to shimmer, and then you see that there's this sort of fluffy white substance that grows up out of the ground, and it looks like what you think for a moment is a snowman until you realize that it's actually made of icing.
Vimon's eyes get very large and sparkly for several long seconds.
If I may ask, if we could take a break from the demonstration, your father was stabbed with some sort of flat, wide-bladed weapon, such as a spear. Do you know of anyone in your country who possesses such a weapon or uses such a thing frequently?
Well, the guards that stand on the candy corn wall at the far north actually have spears that are topped with candy corn blades. They protect our northern border. Their sacrifice is very noble. One of our cousins actually took the orange.
They do say orange is the new black.
Oh my god!
Miles have 10 karma.
What do they protect it from?
No one knows what lies north of the border. North of the border.
I'm so happy.
I have two more questions.
Sure.
Who do you believe killed your father?
That's interesting. Lord Licorice is obviously a prime suspect. Plumpy obviously has a motive, being that even though he pretends that everything is fine, he does have a bit of an axe to grind. Speaking of axes, Mr. Mint is a bit of an opportunist. He actually provided, as you said, all of the peppermint timber to build us a new castle. We had a architectural mishap. Apparently we were using substandard building materials, and there was a collapse in one of the towers. That was actually how my mother died.
What about your sister?
Oh, that's difficult. She's very sweet. If she was capable of it, then I guess I don't know her as well as I think I do. Everyone thinks it's me, though. Everyone thinks, of course, that I have a heart of icing.
Jeez. One last question. At what point do you assume duties as ruler of this kingdom?
We'll have to check his will.
And when will that take place?
I imagine in the morning, but he probably has it in his office. The last I heard of it, I was going to be crowned more or less immediately, although he had been talking lately about being unpleased with how I was coming along in my studies, and he occasionally threatened to delay my rule, but it is difficult to say.
Very well. Thank you for your time, Your Majesty. As my old friend Mr. Paris might say, stay frosty.
Adam, Miss Piggy, and Rosa find themselves in the Cotton Candy Gardens. Walking through the labyrinthine paths that twist around in the gardens, following the footsteps, you eventually come across...
Wait. Can I say while we're walking through the cotton candy? I remember this. They took it and stuffed it in my ears for sensory deprivation. It was terrible.
Every bush that Miss Piggy passes, she is just grabbing a handful and eating it.
I feel like Adam is just confused because, he can't instantly identify everybody in this place by, their weird accent alone.
I did look this up. If you are diabetic and you also have an illness or something, and then you get a high spike in blood sugar, you can hallucinate.
There you go.
Checks out.
Yep.
All right.
He was definitely hallucinating under there.
You go around a corner. You actually think that it would be possible to kind of get lost in this place. It's kind of like a labyrinthine sort of hedge maze thing that you guys are going through. It's not all just like the cotton candy hedges, though. There's bits of sort of architecture and pillars and walls and stuff in it too, and statuary and some fountains, all that kind of stuff. You go around a corner though, and suddenly there is a very large and imposing dark shape standing about 20 yards away from you. You see that it appears to be like a super muscly humanoid that is really heavy upper body. It actually has sort of fawn-like legs, and its feet end in hooves. And its head looks like a horse. Coming out of its back are two wings that are sort of big, but don't look like they'd be large enough to support its weight for flight. And coming out of the center of its head is a horn that looks like a piece of candy corn. It is an orange and yellow and white candy corn man. Candy corn unicorn man with wings.
Unicandy corn.
Unicorn.
It is a candicorn.
Candicorn.
Oh, God.
Who sent you? The Kool-Aid man?
So he looks at you and he says, "You are not the creator.
Who is?
You are not the creator. You must die." Roll some initiative.
2.
A 9.
7.
Okay, Rosa, you're up first.
Just gonna shoot him. Self-defense. He just threatened her. That's a yellow.
You fire. He is apparently not used to projectiles traveling that fast, because it does in fact hit him in the chest, but you see a split second later, his wings wrap around him and fold up in front of his face and create a wall of shimmering candy corn feathers. All right, Adam, you are next.
I'm cloaking.
That's your whole turn, right?
Yeah.
Up next is Candycorn. He flaps his wings, and you see all of the little candy corn feathers in it fire off at you guys in like a sort of arc coming at you like missiles. So everyone has to make an agility check to dodge it. You have to get a yellow or better, or else you're going to take a little bit of damage.
Oh, red.
I got a yellow.
It's a green.
Miss Piggy and Adam dodge, but Rosa gets hit by some candy corn feathers and takes 30 damage.
Can I say that in the castle, Vimon's head suddenly like jerks in the direction of the garden?
Oh yes, yep, that happens.
Is that a thing that Digimon can do?
I mean, you're my partner, man.
Oh man, how sweet.
So for his second action, he regrows his feathers. So his wings regenerate, and that is his turn. Miss Piggy, go for it.
Miss Piggy gets up, dusts herself off, and then pulls out a very small travel-sized bottle of her perfume. Moi. Does a little bit of a saunter, catches this thing's eye.
I'm sure you must be very lonely in this garden. or wherever it is that you hang out. Am I right?
Are you attempting to? What are your intentions here?
Oh, I'm trying to
Public
get
selection
close.
made.
My plan is to just get in range.
Okay, no, I'll let you do it. That's fine. I'll let you take
Okay.
him off guard.
I mean, what kind of eyes is this thing making at me?
Right now, confused. You're not sure if this thing has a sex drive.
I'll take
Oh
it.
my god.
It just seems like this is out of its experience. Whatever's happening right now.
So I get in range and then just launch myself to do my overwhelming kiss. The target has to make a psyche check because my kisses are so powerful that it's like drugs.
He got a 5 on his good psyche, so you got him. All right, so he is stunned.
Says,
Miss Piggy pulls back and she sort of like licks her lips. She's like,
Candy corn.
It looks like Candycorn is experiencing some new feelings for the first time that he is unsure of how to process. Back to Rosa.
So after Rosadia dives behind the tree, she's gonna like yell at her friends and Candycorn. We can't die to something that looks like Lisa Frank banged Jack Skellington and then left the baby on the steps of a cathedral.
Candycorn does not understand that reference, but it does look like it upset him. He senses like the spirit behind it.
I just used Merciless Mockery. It's a special skill of Rose's where basically sick burn and then they take either psychic damage or -1 CS to all checks they make the rest of the encounter. So I think I'm gonna go with that.
All right, next up is Adam.
Okay, so I've cloaked, and I want to say that, I've maneuvered next to whatever the fuck.
Candycorn.
And I would like to mount Candycorn in the not disgusting way, you perverts. Like a horse. I'm going to... There's literally
what
no
normally mounts
good
a
way
candy
to
unicorn.
say that I'm about to ride this thing, because that could be taken in a variety of ways. Basically, I am going, as if there was a saddle, I am going to get on it like I was going to lead it somewhere with reins and stirrups and...
You may
It still
continue,
sounds
we understand.
bad. Anyways, I'm going to do this, and then I'm gonna get out my nano-ceramic blades out of my arms, and then, just go whoosh and cut off its wings.
Oh, nice.
Trick or treat.
That seems like a fighting check, and if you do well enough, like yellow or better, I'll say you can cut off his wings.
I'm gonna use karma. Well, good thing I used karma. I'll bring it to a yellow.
I imagine you uncloak when this happens?
Yeah.
So, suddenly, Candycorn, he sort of stumbles and tries to get his footing when there is suddenly a weight on his back, and then a moment later, Adam Jensen appears on his back and slices his wings off. He lets out a in pain. And I'm gonna say that there's like some liquid orange and yellow and white like spraying fluid that shoots out of him. Candycorn's going to attempt to buck you off. Oh, he's going to lose one of his 2 actions due to stun this turn, and for his other one, he's going to try to buck Adam off with an opposed strike check.
All right.
So he got a green.
I also got a green.
Okay, I'm gonna say he bucks you off. He just kicks you off, and you fly and land on your butt on the soft pink grass of the garden. Miss Piggy.
I'm just gonna grab him by... He doesn't have lapels, but what does he have?
His body sort of looks like it's made of armor in a weird way, or like rigid plastic. He weirdly kind of resembles like a guy in a bad monster costume.
Okay. She's gonna grab him.
Listen, pal. I've spent my day hanging out with people who make Gonzo look normal. I am tired. I am on a sugar high. Do not push your luck.
Oh my god, that was so good.
And then
Oh, Lord.
just look him in the eye and then force him to sit down with her sheer rage and anger at this day.
So is this intimidation?
This is intimidation. Yellow.
All right, so he gets a white. So he drops to a knee and looks thoroughly defeated, and he says, "I thought you maybe actually, I don't know. I thought you maybe liked me. I'm sorry if that sounds corny." At this point, Vimon shows up, and Tuvok is quickly behind him.
Rose is like, finish him before he can make any more puns, please.
You got it! And Vimon is gonna like crouch down and point his head toward the candy corn.
No. I just subdued this thing. Absolutely not.
Vimon's intended attack instead turns into like a clumsy stumble, and then he falls on the grass.
Candycorn looks at you guys and he says, "I don't have a lot of time. If I were you, I'd run."
And if I were you, I'd talk. Who sent you?
He says, "Suit yourself," and he starts to glow.
That's not good.
Might I recommend that we make a hasty retreat?
Rose is already running.
You guys turn and run away, and then a split second later, there is an enormous fiery explosion that shoots up into the air as he apparently just spontaneously combusts.
Like candy corn does.
Like candy corn does. Moments later, there's just like a little smoking crater and a little bit of orange goo, but nothing left.
You must have had some of those pop rocks.
I have that effect on men.
So maybe we should share the clues with each other that we've all gotten.
Sure. Everybody make an intuition check.
Yellow.
No. White.
So,
yellow.
you notice that there's a statue that was nearby, and the explosion seems to have knocked it over. And at the foot of the statue, you can see a staircase that goes down. It appears that he was waiting by this statue.
Curious.
I'm not a detective, but this is a clue, right? This is a clue.
Before we go down, I tug on the corner of Rose's leather jacket, and I say,
Listen, I know you have trouble with everything in me, but we are partners and we're only gonna work together well if we stick together. So, stick together.
She's gonna look at him for like a couple seconds and then, just as straight face as ever, just be like, "You're right. We have to have each other's backs. If only to survive this gumdrop hellscape."
All right, so you guys head down into the stairs, and you find yourself in what looks like a little tiny room. It looks like that it's some sort of like den, like a weird like kind of hoarder's nest or something. There appear to be like a few different like pilfered items about, like kind of loot for some sort of like thief. There's not a whole lot of stuff here. There's like a little bed in the corner, and then there's a few valuables, like a goblet with some jewels and stuff like that. But noticeably, there's like a little wooden table here, and there's something that you see on it that catches your attention, and that is what looks like a DDC.
Oh. I check its battery pack?
There's a battery in it. It appears to not be the same model as yours. It looks like it's older. You haven't seen one like this before.
This is mine.
It's not yours either.
This is not mine.
Do we have someone else in Candyland?
Better not be that Demona bitch.
I take it.
Piggy is like looking around very warily. This person could come back.
So someone in the castle is actually not from this world.
Did we meet everyone in the castle?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of guards, but we know who the suspects are.
So it could be the Kool-Aid Man?
Regardless, Doc Brown will want to look at this.
Can Rosa investigate this room for any clues of
Sure.
like who might have used this? That is a yellow.
Looking around the room, you actually see that there's a section of like the rock in here that is fake. You lean on it, Rosa, and it pops open, and you actually see that there's a hidden passageway in here that continues onward in the direction of the castle.
Good job, partner.
I commend your observational skills, Miss Diaz.
As you guys all pass through the passage, you notice it's a really small passageway. It looks like probably Candycorn couldn't fit through here, but all of you can. Anyone who's like above the size of a normal human would probably have some trouble.
So this looks like it's too small for Plumpy or Grandma Nut to fit through.
Is Plumpy
How
big?
tall is Mr. Mint? I forget.
All right, I'll run you through the size on everybody. Lolly is very small. Frosty is sort of normal human-sized and kind of thin. Mr. Mint is he's average human. Grandma Nut is pretty big in all dimensions. Lord Licorice is pretty tall and thin, and Plumpy is quite large as well. You go down through a winding passageway, and then you head up some stairs, and you feel like from the ambient sounds, you're now probably in the castle. And as you're going around, you actually will pass by the occasional little standard painting with removable eyes that you can look out at. Much as people have been living in Grayskull for a while, you're now used to castles with secret passageways, and this appears to be yet another castle full of secret passageways. As you head onward through the passageway, it's sort of one long hallway. You come across another room that has a pretty narrow door. You can look through and you can see there's another room in here that looks like it's another one of those little dens or hideouts that someone had in the castle walls. As you're looking around, you can actually see that there's a lot of paperwork in here, and it looks like someone's been taking notes on stuff. You see that prominently one of the pieces of paper in this looks like it's a printout that has black and white type from a computer on a piece of copy paper, which is something you've not seen in Candyland up at this point. They don't appear to have computers.
Do they even have paper?
They don't have paper made of inedible things, which this appears to be.
No fruit roll-up paper only.
You said that there's handwritten stuff in addition to the machine printed stuff?
Yes.
Does it have excellent penmanship?
It does not.
Okay.
It's a little messy.
Well, it can't be Princess Lolly then.
So as you look through the piece of paper, you realize it looks like it's a list of equipment and weapons. As you look it over, you realize it's all stuff from the League's armory. It appears as though someone got onto a computer in the League and printed out a roster of everything that the League has in its armory. And as you're flipping through, you see that one of the items has been circled with a red pen.
What item is it?
It says staff with Z insignia. Anyone who can make reason checks to see who has spent time in the League armory, perhaps as a quartermaster, to roll and see if you know what the different items and stuff do in the League armory.
Nope.
Yeah. This is the whitest weight.
Nope. Vimon has no idea.
Oh, fuck yeah. Rosa knows every weapon in the armory.
All right, yeah, so you're familiar with this thing. So it's a magic staff that you're not quite sure what world it's from, but it has the ability to transform inanimate objects into monsters. They, in theory, are supposed to follow the person who holds the staff, but they're sometimes very difficult to control, and they're really unstable.
And this armory is in Castle Grayskull?
It's an armory in Castle Grayskull, yeah.
Is there anything else in this room?
I'm going to say, actually, you notice there's a book in here as well.
What's the book?
It is a book on proper wand technique.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Can I throw down and investigate in here?
Yeah, I'll roll and investigate too. It's my jam.
That's a yellow.
Yeah, I know.
You're now, since you're in an interior part of the castle, there's something that you're noticing. You're looking at the construction of the castle, all of the architecture. You see that all of the wooden beams are made of some material that's purple, that's sparkling. It has little bits of white in it, and it kind of glistens when light shines off of it.
Nerds?
Oh man, I could go for candy so hard right now.
It's some sort of sparkly, purple candy.
Rock candy?
No, it doesn't look like rock candy.
Good and plenty?
Someone lick it.
If I'm remembering right, Princess Frostine mentioned that some of the older parts of the castle used a different type of architecture than the newer ones, which had been provided by Mr. Mint.
Is that correct, Claire? Am I remembering that right?
They rebuilt the entire castle. There was an architectural mishap, there was a collapse in the castle, so he convinced them to rebuild the castle using his peppermint logs, he said.
And this doesn't look like peppermint, right?
It does not.
Can we examine the material and figure out if we can, determine what it is or properties about it?
Which one of your senses are you using?
I'm gonna lick it.
Tastes like sugar plums.
Is there a way back into the main part of the castle from here?
Yeah, you can keep following the passageway if you want. Are you guys heading on?
Yeah, let's head on.
You head on through the hallway. After a little while, you come across another little opening. Sticking your head out, you actually see that you're behind the bed in King Candy's bedroom.
So it wasn't necessarily someone he trusted, just someone who was able to get into a secret passage.
This door is definitely wide enough for Candycorn to get through. And as you head onward through the path, you finally come out the other side, at an exterior wall of the castle. You can see in the distance, you're on the far north side of the castle. And in the distance, you see the Candycorn wall. It's it's a wall of solid candy corn, which is it's the densest material they have. It's timeless. It will not weather. It will
Yeah. They say there's spells carved into it.
I like to imagine that beyond it, there's just a vast carpet.
Do they have levees made out of Twinkies?
All right, what's the plan, guys?
Okay, so the person we're after has a stolen staff from the League, so we know that Princess Frostine has a staff, and it may be a disguised staff, like the one that was taken. But also Mr. Mint has his axes, which could be a disguised magic wand.
That was Frostine's book in there. I know she said it was stolen.
Lord Licorice also has a cane. So those are all of the things. Yeah, Frostine has a staff, Lolly has a staff, Mr. Mint has an axe.
Oh,
and
Lolly
Lord
also
Licorice
has a staff.
Yeah,
Okay.
she has. It's topped with a lollipop.
Lord Licorice is so thoroughly a red herring that he went extinct in the 22nd century.
Sick burn, Tuvok.
So here's what we do. We gather everyone together that has a staff, and we ask them to let us examine the staffs to see if one of them is actually the Z staff and it's been altered or disguised or something.
Mr. Vimon, for being such a strange and ultimately illogical individual, you do have some interesting ideas. It's almost as though you were being played by a person who is more comfortable in a leadership and directive role, as opposed to a side character comedic role or something like that. I don't know, but let's do it.
Vimon gives a confused and helpless look at Rosa and says,
I didn't understand what he was talking about.
It was a compliment. So when one of them panics, we shoot them. Got it.
So the sun is coming up, and all of you gather once again. Do you wish to gather in the Great Hall?
Yes.
sure.
We should gather in whatever room has the least amount of exits.
Yeah.
Everyone gathers in the Great Hall for some breakfast. You all have had a long night. Everyone is gathered around the table.
I'm sorry, beforehand, can Rosa have stealthily locked, like, most of the doors? The doors closest to
Sure.
where they would, in theory, try to escape?
Sounds good.
Claire, this is a weird request. Would you please describe what breakfast is in the Candy Kingdom?
I did so much prep for all of these
No,
meals.
I got it.
didn't
It's
go for
scrambled
it.
Cadbury cream eggs.
Oh my
right.
god.
that sounds
That sounds
disgusting.
delicious.
This all sounds disgusting.
Oh, candy
Oh my God.
bacon.
Claire,
Oh,
was that on your list?
No, that was not one of the ones I came up with. I didn't plan for breakfast. I had multiple courses for dinner.
Please give me the list later. I just want to enjoy it.
All right. Everyone gathers around the table. Frostine is sitting now in King Candy's chair. And she says, well, I certainly hope you found something.
We did.
And?
If you don't mind, we would like to inspect your scepter. Frankly, even if you do mind.
And why is that?
We believe it may hold the key to finding the truth.
I don't know if I'm going to allow that.
Then you're guilty.
Very well. We will come
By what logic? If you want a demonstration of what my scepter can do, I've already done it. And she waves it, and then you see like little bits of icing start flaking down from the air like snowflakes.
Yeah, but it could do other things.
We are going to require to inspect every item like that in this hall, including your cane, Mr. Licorice, and your axe, Mr. Mint.
And your staff, Princess Lolly.
She says, okay, and holds it out.
I take it.
I shoot a glare at Frostine and say,
See, that was very easy, very cooperative.
If you losers didn't do anything wrong, you have nothing to lose. Except for being losers.
Lord Licorice says, there's certainly no hidden button in my staff which will detonate explosives that I've placed around the room. I don't know why you would think that.
Okay, pal, you just hand that one over.
So, and Mr. Mint says, I don't see what good this is gonna do. I don't see why we should trust any of you people, you outsiders from another world.
All will be revealed once you hand over your equipment. If you wish, we can do this less pleasantly.
Frostine hands out her staff, and then Lord Licorice hands out his cane. At this point, Mr. Mint says, I don't know why we're kowtowing to these outsiders here. It's ridiculous.
It's him, hands on the ground. And then Rosa, like, points her gun at him. Get on the ground, julep.
I'm not handing over this axe. You're probably gonna break it. It's a brand new axe. It's practically in mint condition.
Oh, God, that's so
It's
good.
Oh, shoot me in
All
the
right.
face.
He says, enough of this. And then he slams the staff on the ground, and you see a bolt of white lightning strikes it.
Oh, well.
2 holes in the floor open up that look like secret passageways. Let's roll initiative.
11.
7.
7.
6.
5.
Mr. Mint's going first. He's going to vanish in a flash of white light. He is gone. He has teleported. There's a few figures that start crawling up out of the holes in the floor. First up, you see that there are a bunch of humanoids that look really lumpy, that they're kind of look like they're made from clay or something. But as you look at them closer, you realize they're actually made of peanut brittle. Their faces are like kind of flat. They don't seem to have noses, but they have like kind of slit eyes and a slit mouth. And on their chest is a large prominent letter Z. They are the Nutty Patrol.
Oh my.
Go fuck yourself.
Oh, Claire, I can feel your
Lord.
smugness from here.
Oh man. Oh, and one more monster comes out. There are 4 Nutty Patrollers that come out, and there is a monster that appears to be made of oversized jelly beans. He also similarly looks like a guy in a big oversized rubber like monster costume, but he's made of jelly beans that are roughly the size of like bigger than someone's fist. His name is Jellimental. That is their turn. So up first we have Tuvok.
Alright, well, I don't think there's any need to set Phaser's stun for this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and shoot the Jellimental.
It's not nice. Miles just rolled 100.
Wow.
Yes, I did. So that's a red.
He explodes into a whole bunch of jelly beans that
Dang.
are all lying along on the ground.
Oh my god.
So there's a whole bunch of jelly beans, different colors. There's like a red one and a blue one and a green one and a rainbow one and all that kind of stuff. So
If it weren't for all his intense years of Vulcan training, Tuvok would say booyah right now, but he's not going to.
all right. At this point, a new monster emerges. It looks like a person whose central body is one of those little like kind of mint candies that are like tied up in like that like candy wrapper like cellophane stuff. And it looks like he has cellophane that's surrounding all of his body. It looks like a frilly collar around his neck. And whenever he moves, he just crinkles like crazy. He pulls out a microphone when he steps out and says, "Yo, I'm Candy Rapper, and I'm here to say, I'm here to kill you all in a major way.
That's another one!
I'm sorry, destroy you all. Power Rangers monsters." Miss Piggy, you are
Candy
up.
Wrapper.
There are now 4 Nutty Patrollers and Candy Rapper.
I can't decide if I want to kick you out of my house or if you're never leaving alive.
First of all, is anybody else who we had called together, are they fighting back? What are they doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Frostine is just like looking like a badass, like icing Elsa right now.
Toss her
Like
staff.
everybody is going to be pitching in to the
Oh,
extent
wow.
they can. Plumpy looks surprisingly strong. Lord Licorice is cowering in the corner right now. Lolly and Grandma Nut are hiding as well, but like Frostine and Plumpy are getting down. If you guys want, since we don't have to like bother with the specifics on them, you guys can order them to take somebody on, and there'll be like a side fight going on. And so like if you guys, for instance, want them to fight the Nutty Patrol and you want to fight the big monsters, then that's fine, or like whatever you want.
Oh, that sounds like probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. For now, you guys are just fighting Candy Wrapper.
You know, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, we've been waiting.
Yeah, just a flying jump kick right to the throat with that stiletto heel. All right, I got a green.
Yeah, Candy Wrapper is not looking happy about that.
You're gonna be feeling my heel for a week.
Up next is Adam.
What's the area around look like?
So it's a great hall. There's like a chandelier, a bunch of chairs,
A
really long
chandelier,
table.
you say?
I knew you were gonna be so excited about that.
Can I get on top of the chandelier?
Sure.
Can I do something with the chandelier in the same
What is your goal?
to break the chandelier?
To like make it drop on
Yeah.
somebody? It's gonna fall on the table.
Can I hold my turn to have someone work with me?
Oh yeah, try to get somebody to position it
Yeah.
underneath. That sounds good. Yeah. And one more monster crawls up from the secret compartments. It appears to be a lady who is pink and very leggy and wearing a little skirt. Her hair is has a sort of like updo twirl, and her face, much like all these monsters, appears to just be like a single piece of rigid plastic. There's like a pretty face painted on it, but it doesn't actually appear to be capable of articulation. And you see that she has what looks like a long whip of taffy with her that she brings up. She is Taphrodite. Rosa, it is your turn.
Where are the people who are not fighting?
I imagine like cowering in a corner, sort of.
Rosa's gonna hang close to them for fear that they're gonna be easy hostages or something. And she's gonna say to Vimon, "You're gonna have to take care of the melee."
I can do that. You know what, Rosa? We've seen a lot of people get killed, and there's this whole conspiracy, and I realize that we've had some stuff stolen from us. And this may just be the sugar high talking, but I've actually had a lot of fun solving mysteries with you.
No.
You say that like you think you're gonna die.
Miles, you've never watched Digimon,
Never watched
so I need you
Yeah.
to just chill for a sec.
Rosa's she's gonna go, even though literally everything you say in that voice is annoying, you're the greatest detective I've ever known. And I'm glad you're my partner.
A while ago, Rosa found a little device around the time she found Vimon. It looks like a little Tamagotchi that's been clipped to her belt for a while, and now it starts to glow.
Vimon, Digivolve to X Vimon.
Whoa.
All right, in a flash of light, Vimon suddenly grows to being maybe like 10 feet tall. He is incredibly muscular. He now has the head of like a dragon, and he has enormous blue like bat/dragon wings coming out of his back. And there's a prominent black V on his white underbelly.
So they're in the corner. She's gonna kind of block them. Which of the monsters is damaged? The rapper?
Candy Rapper.
Yeah, fuck him too anyway. So she's gonna shoot at that guy.
Please don't kill him before he gets to use his attack. Please.
She's gonna shoot him in the head. Green. So not the head. You're lucky.
He's not doing too well. He's taking quite a bit of damage. All right, up next, Vimon. Or should I say X-Vimon?
Yes, X-Vimon grins at Rosa, says, thanks, and then leaps forward. He spots Adam lurking on the chandelier above. So, Claire, with your permission, what I'd like to have happen is that Taphrodite lashes out at X-Vimon with a whip, and I want him to grab the end of it and yank her so that she's lying on the table directly under the chandelier.
Sure,
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Doing a post-fighting check between you and Taphrodite.
Cool.
She got a red.
Okay, I got a yellow.
You, like, try to goad her into attacking. She, like, wraps a whip around your arm and pulls you, and you end up getting pulled onto the table, and you're now lying below the chandelier.
Okay.
Wait, I held my turn. Instead, I want to jump off the chandelier, extend my blades, and just frickin' blade first after Taphrodite. Yellow.
Taphrodite is up. She pulls out a chunk of what looks like sticky, glowing, like hot pink energy taffy from her body and throws it right at Adam. She is using Taphrodisiac.
Oh, no.
She is attempting to psychically control you. Make an opposed psyche check.
I'm gonna use the rest of my karma for this, if I need to. Oh my god, I don't. I rolled a 94.
So you get hit by a bunch of like sticky, glowy pink taffy all over your face, and it starts like feeding weird thoughts into your brain and like wrapping around you and like going into your ears, but you manage to pull it all off and throw it aside, and you have resisted the Taphrodisiac. At this point, there is a rumbling. You hear some giant mighty footsteps, and then the wall to the room is smashed open. Towering over you is a giant mech suit. It has long, spindly, peppermint legs, and on top is sort of like a big ball. And a big fist punch through the wall looks down at you and says, "Oh, yeah."
Okay, Adam just goes, "Ah!"
You know what? You were right, man. I'm sorry we ever doubted you.
Yes, you can see in the cockpit piloting it is Mr. Mint. So now there's a new enemy in the battle, and it is Mecha Mint.
Never asked for this.
It is Jellimental's turn.
He's dead.
Nope. Reassembles himself. The glowing rainbow jelly bean lifts up into the air, and all of the other ones fly back onto it. And he is now going to fling some jelly beans at one of you, and I think he's going to go with, we'll say, Miss Piggy. I'm going to roll to see what color of jelly bean gets flung at Miss Piggy. Oh, black licorice. Very dangerous. Miss Piggy, you take 20 damage, and until the end of Jellimental's next turn, you're taking double damage from all attacks.
Ugh.
Tuvok.
I'm gonna shoot Candy Wrapper.
Shoot Candy Wrapper?
Yep. I'll spend karma. 32 karma to get to green.
All right, fine. Candy Wrapper died. He has so many fun abilities. He can do drops, which like are shockwaves. He can sample other people's powers. He can trash talk people. I wrote a bunch of raps for. You know what? Fine. Miss Piggy. Fine, you're up.
Miss Piggy takes off one of her Christian Louboutins and hurls it with all the might of a very angry pig into the mechanisms that are powering Mecha Mint.
What mechanisms are those?
Oh, I don't know. Candy ones, I assume.
I will say that you don't have sufficient knowledge of the machine to be able to determine that.
Is he visible in that? Is he behind a shield?
Yeah, there's like a glass kind of dome thing that he's
You know
behind.
what? I'll just aim to break that and maybe he'll get poked.
You're gonna have to get a yellow or better to hit it on your agility check.
Red.
I'm gonna say since you get a red, that not only do you deal 30 damage to the mech, but your shoe goes through the glass and hits Mr. Mint in the forehead.
Nice.
And you also deal 30 damage to him.
Nice.
Do I draw blood?
I'm gonna give him an endurance check real quick.
And now he has a heel sticking out of his face.
He fails. He's gonna be stunned.
Nice. Good shot, Miss Piggy.
So yeah, because you hit him in the face, so he's recovering from a stiletto that's embedded. I'm like half an inch into his forehead. Adam.
I want to jump into the cockpit and rip him out.
Give me my shoe back!
You have to do an agility check to climb up the mech.
Yellow.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say you climb up sufficiently and you can make an attack against Mr. Mint. Are you going for a grapple?
Yeah. It's a 80 yellow.
Yeah, I'll say he's stunned and he's really low on HP, so I'll say you can get him in a full grab. Taphrodite is up. She is going to attempt to use Taffy Whip. Her whip extends out, it stretches, you might say, to a ridiculous degree. She is attempting to whip both Rosa and Vimon.
Oh no. Oh no. I am jumping in the way of this. I will take double damage if I have to. None of that is getting through to Rosa.
Aww.
Make an agility check. You're gonna have to do pretty well.
I only got a green.
So I'm gonna say that both of you take 20 damage. Ex Vimon.
So I get smacked by this whip, and I say, "That's a neat trick. Let me show you one of mine." And I cross my arms over my chest and say, V-Laser! And shoot off a giant beam of energy from my chest.
Yeah!
You guys are gigantic nerds.
I got a yellow result.
Taphrodite stumbles back and falls and explodes in a fiery explosion. Much like Candy Wrapper did, by the way. I don't think I said that. So it's Mr. Mint's turn. He's starting to come out of his daze from having the shoe hit him in the face, and he's starting to fight back against Adam, but he doesn't have enough physical strength to muster this turn, so he loses his turn trying to fight back. Jellimental is going to shoot a jelly bean at X Vimon, who right now seems to be the biggest threat.
Bring it on.
X Vimon, you get hit by a pancakes and maple syrup jelly bean.
Sounds good.
You're not sure if you like this flavor or not. During your next turn, we're going to flip a coin. On heads, you gain 30 HP. On tails, you lose 30 HP. Also, you have to make a psyche check or lose your turn trying to figure out the mystery of the pancakes and maple syrup jelly
Oh
bean.
my god.
Tuvok.
I'm gonna shoot him again.
Jellimental?
Yeah. Fucking stay down. And that's a red.
All right. So you blow him up, and again, he falls into a pile of jelly beans on the ground.
Stepping on that rainbow one.
All right. That will take up another action. You cannot do that this turn.
That's fine. Somebody else should do that.
Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
Are you, Tuvok, are you going to tell me to step on that jelly bean?
If you would be so kind, Miss Piggy.
I would be delighted.
I just take one step and crunch my other heel through that rainbow jelly bean.
It poofs, and then Miss Piggy, all around you, all of the other jelly beans on the ground start to glow white.
This could be a bad thing.
Miss Piggy, make an agility check, or you're gonna get hit by the exploding jelly beans.
This is worth spending karma on as well. Yeah, if I use all of my remaining karma, I can get a green. Will that keep me alive?
Yeah, you just need a green.
Okay, well, I'm alive. All right, I got a green.
So you run, and you don't do the cool walk away, you do the turn and run, and then explosion, and you get knocked over by the shockwave, and you go, and fly through the air, and skid across the ground, and then your head hits a wall, and then you kind of rub it and get up. But
Be very clear that I still look fucking amazing.
Sure you do.
Not a hair
So
out of place.
what basically happened is the camera cut away, and then someone threw a Muppet across the room.
And then I stand up and I do like the head toss.
So yeah, I think you guys are good on this fight. Frostine and Plumpy beat the Nutty Patrol, and Adam's able to bring down Mr. Mint.
But why'd you do it, Mr. Mint?
One day you realize that we're all just players, playing a rigged game.
Oh my god.
The game's been set up so none of your strategies even matter. You just take the cards you get and see what
Vulcan
fate
nerve
the
pinch.
game has in store for you.
Vulcan nerve pinch now, before he finishes talking.
When that day comes, you realize...
No, before he finishes talking. Vulcan nerve pinch.
Let
No,
Claire finish her
one
villain
last line.
monologue.
On that day, you realize the only way to win is to stack the deck.
And now Vulcan nerf pinch.
The Vulcan nerve pinch happened before that. It's nice that we got to hear what his speech would have been.
It comes out that he did, in fact, engineer a disaster to happen to kill Queen Frostine. And also secure building rights so that he could build him a new castle. He said he was using wood from his peppermint forest, but he actually illegally harvested the sugar plum forest. That was what the castle's actually made of, is not peppermint, but sugar plum
I
sugar
see.
plum forest. Also, it comes out that Francis P. Mint used to be an operative who worked for the League by the name of Francis Underwood.
Wow.
Oh, what a douche.
Holy shit.
The accent makes so much sense now.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have one thing to say to Vimon. So they're walking back to League or whatever. The DDC's loading up, and Rosa says to, I guess you're back to being Vimon, probably?
Yeah.
So you're a lizard that can turn into a lizard with a blade on its face?
I mean, among other things, I like to think I have a strong personality and a...
Don't ruin it.
Uh,
You're the greatest partner I've ever had.
Extraordinary League is produced by Dan Mulkerin, with logo design by Claire Mulkerin.
Special thanks to Kevin McLeod at Incompetech.com for our theme song, Motherload, and to TabletopAudio.com for our background music and ambient sound effects.
You can find us on Twitter at SmashFic Podcast and search for the Smash Fiction Podcast on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Smash Fiction is made possible thanks to our supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/smashfictionpodcast. Please consider donating as little as $1 each month. It helps us keep the show going, and we have great rewards and extra content for those who help us out.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
And I'm going to say that there's like some liquid orange and yellow and white like spraying fluid that shoots out of him.
Sounds like all the things that could possibly come out of a penis.
I know, seriously, why?
What?
Why did this
Miles.
happen?
Orange? Alright.
Yeah, what's
mean-
wrong?
If you have
Go
an
to a
infection or
doctor.
something. Yeah, no, that's like a healthy person's penis.
Cheeto gonorrhea. What the hell?
Oh, God. Hey, Claire, can I make a psyche check so I can stop mentioning Kool-Aid Man?
You can stop mentioning Kool-Aid Man whenever you want. I'm not the one who's making you
No,
do
but
it.
I want to do it.
Then do it.
Okay, if I get green or better, I don't have to mention it.
If you get white or better, you don't have to mention it anymore.
Oh my God, I got an 8.
You got a white or better, so you don't have to mention it.
Everyone's gonna be expecting Kool-Aid Man by the end of this.
Are they?
Literally no one except for you is going to be expecting Kool-Aid.
You know,
Man.
I'm here for Liz's internal journey. This is beautiful.
Is there a psychologist at League? Because I think she needs some therapy. Someone's specific fetish is Miss Piggy crushing a jelly bean under her heel.
I mean, that's